I'm going to tell you a little story. I was asked by Calabat Chocolate to do a demonstration in Barcelona to 200 of the world's leading chefs and pastry chefs. Very daunting. There are only 6 of us demonstrating, and we're all given an emerging trend within society. Mine was style rebellion, and I was to base my demonstration on this style rebellion theme, which is really bold colors, stripes, lots of prints. So I had to think of something with chocolate that I could create to showcase this theme. And I actually designed this technique and created it myself, and I launched it at this demonstration in Barcelona in 2014. What's exciting is that this technique is now used all around the world, and I'm going to share it with you today in the hope that you'll also use the technique yourself. I'm using the truffle shell, which you can see is a pre-contracted chocolate shell, which I put a ganache inside. Now, if you're wanting some recipes on ganaches and some more technical information on chocolate, we have so many on our online class platform where we go a little bit more in depth into all the science, the technical aspects, and there's lots more recipes. If you're not able to purchase truffle shells, you can use a cake pop, or you can also have a firm ganache, which you can actually roll into a ball. The ganache that you use in this doesn't really matter, so any flavor that you like. You will need to temper some white chocolate for the next steps. We're going to color some of it, but initially we're going to use it to seal the truffle shell itself. We have a tempering video here on YouTube. If you're not quite sure how to temper, you can watch that, then come back for the next steps. The white chocolate I have here is now tempered. I'm using some lollipop sticks. Now, these are created with paper, so sometimes they do vary in size. I'm using an acrylic lollipop stand, which I get custom made. We do sell them at Saver. In fact, we sell the truffle shells as well, if you're not sure where to get them from. I test the lollipop sticks in the acrylic stand to make sure they actually hold before I start this process. I'm going to make a paper piping bag, so a triangle of baking paper. You can also use a Ziploc bag. Roll it up and seal in the ends. You must make sure it comes to a tight, closed peak here. I'm going to place the white chocolate in the bag. We only ever fill it up halfway. To close the bag, we always fold it away from the seam and fold the top of the bag down. Cut a small amount off the end of the bag, and we're ready to start sealing the truffle shells. Obviously, if you're using a cake pop or you're using a firm ganache sphere, you would simply stick the lollipop stick in at this stage. So if you're fast, you can pipe a couple of rows, then put the sticks in before the chocolate sets. If you're slow, just do 1 or 2 at a time. So just put enough chocolate in to seal the ganache. Make sure the sticks are straight up and down. We're now going to let these set at room temperature, which will take approximately 10 minutes. While that's setting, I'm going to prepare the chocolate. So I'm doing 3 different chocolates. I'm going to use the white chocolate that I have prepared here. I've also got some red chocolate and some black chocolate that I'm now going to temper. I've reheated the white chocolate until it's the right consistency and temperature. I'm now going to place some black chocolate and red chocolate. These are white chocolate that have been colored with black oil-soluble color and red oil-soluble color. Instead of using white chocolate here, you can actually use a dark chocolate, or what I often do is take the mixed scraps. So when I've got the white, red, and dark chocolate that drip off, I put that in a bowl and then I color that black, so there's absolutely no wastage whatsoever. Make sure all the lollipops are loose in the mold before you start, and you're going to need additional piping bags. So we're going to pour firstly the black chocolate into the piping bag, fill it up just over half or about halfway, and fold it away from the seam. I'm going to place that on the wooden board so it doesn't cool down too quickly. I'm going to do the same with the red. I'm going to pipe on the surface of the white chocolate in a grid pattern. So we go across with the dark, then we go in the other direction. Repeat that with the red chocolate. Now I've bought in a lollipop stand, which I've got on 2 computer monitor holders. If you don't have one of these, which not many of you would have one handy, you can actually use polystyrene. So if you're using polystyrene, you need to make a hole in the polystyrene first with a toothpick to enable you to actually stick the lollipop in. Alternately, you can actually sharpen the end of the lollipop stick with a pencil sharpener, but then you'll also have to use the polystyrene once you display them to turn them over again. So on the surface here, I'm going to dip the individual lollipops. Ready? Dip it in, and as you bring it out, twist it. I've got some paper underneath here. We shake off the excess. And this is the chocolate I'm talking about and what's left in the bowl that we colour black. We let them set upside down so we get a nice peak here. If you don't want to set them upside down, you don't have to, but make sure you take off the excess chocolate before you flip it over, otherwise you'll ruin the pattern. Making these is you have to work very, very quickly because this bowl starts to cool down and the chocolate becomes quite thick. But in saying that, you can get this full tray of lollipops done, or I can, before that actually sets. So once we've used the whole surface, we just simply pipe again on top. So once again in the grid pattern, and the same again with the black chocolate. I'm not putting quite as much black this time, so I'm leaving it a little bit more open. Then we simply start dipping again. So clearly I haven't dipped the whole tray, but I've just dipped enough to show you. Once they start to set, which should take about 5 to 10 minutes, we can flip the tray over, and I recommend you actually serve them either in the polystyrene that you've used or a lollipop stand if you've got one. These are a wonderful showstopper when you bring these out at your next party. People will be talking about them for weeks. Now I've shown you mine, so you show me yours and tag me in at Kirsten Tibballs Instagram if you recreate these yourself. If you enjoyed that episode, you will love my channel. Subscribe today for even more tutorials on chocolate and baking. Best of all, it's free, so get on it.